I think that the main purpose of our existence is to become awakened, right? And sometimes people use the word love. Our main purpose of existence is being love, is to be able to experience love and give love and share love and all of that. And it seems like all of that comes through an awakening, doesn't it? It's like when we wake up one day and we realize why we're here. And one of the questions that I've always been asked over and over again, and I've asked for years as a matter of fact, is like, how do you know when you're there? Like, how do you know when you're living a life that is awakened? How do you know when you're in that space that that you can handle what God gives you and understand that you can? It's a big difference between having faith verbally and having faith in action, isn't it? I'm David Essel. I wanted to share with you some stories that I think are pretty powerful, and the first one's going to come from Ram Dass, who's an amazing spiritual teacher. And listening to him speak one time, I remember a member in the audience asked this very question, like, how do you know when you're there? Or if not there, meaning that you're fully engaged as love, or that you're fully awakened, or that you're enlightened, or whatever the word might be, how do you know you're there? And he gave two great examples, and then I'm going to share a story that happened to me recently. Very first thing is he said, he said, you're standing there and you're arguing with your partner again, and in the middle of a sentence, when you're right about to just lash back and say, no, you're wrong, I'm right, here it is, you go, argument with partner. And you disengage, and you totally disengage, and you stop right there, and you realize that it's all an illusion, and you realize it's all insanity, and you disengage, and you love, and you send love through your eyes, or you embrace, or you walk away, or you do something you normally wouldn't do. Like that's a great example. And then he said, or for those not in relationship at this time, you're driving to the airport, and you see a traffic jam, and you look at your watch, and instead of freaking out, you go, traffic jam. We'll miss flights. And it's all of a sudden, like, the awakening is that you refuse to buy into that whole concept that the outside world has everything to do with my happiness. And you make a decision from that moment through actions. Now, it's not just through thought, is that you make a decision to let go, to surrender to the moment, to what is versus how you want it to be. I think it's incredibly powerful. So a couple weekends ago, I'm doing this very workshop on life mastery that we teach all the time. We do it via teleconference. We do it in weekend workshops. I teach it at a state college, and I'm giving these examples of Ram Dass, and I'm teaching the workshop and giving Ram Dass stories and multiple other people's stories as well. And then I fly to New York, and I get into New York, and I'm just going to be there for a quick turnaround. I fly in on one night. I come back the very next night to Florida, and I speak for 4 hours the next day. So I arrive into JFK, and I call the car driver, and he had the wrong information written down. He didn't think I was coming into the next day. So I said, okay, well, can you make it? He said, yeah, but it's going to be at least an hour before I get to the airport. And I said, cool. And I remembered Ram Dass. Driver forgot time, And so I chilled. I went out by the cab, or the drive where they pick you up, and just hung out outside. It was a nice night, so I hung out for an hour, and he comes. And so then I said, how long is it to get to the hotel? He said, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. So I said, great. Well, it was almost an hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours later, the GPS took him in a wrong way, and we end up at the hotel, and he was paid a flat fee, so it wasn't like I was with a cabbie that was trying to get more money out of me. It's just like whatever. And as I'm driving, I'm going, driver lost. Seriously, right? I'm remembering the story I had just told Ram Dass. I get to the whole hotel, and I asked for my room, and they said, we don't have you as a reservation. Now it's late, I'm exhausted, and the very first thing, I kid you not, it's like, they lost my reservation, right? And throughout the whole thing, the reason why I think in those moments I was able to go to that space, and it continues, and I was able to go to that space was because the weekend before I was reminding myself of the importance of this. And if we don't have reminders, teachers, books, courses, workshops, if we're not constantly putting ourselves out there, ladies and gentlemen, and then looking for ways to practice in the physical world what it is that we know we should be doing and could be doing and want to do, then we're not going to change. Because it's really easy to have those things occur for me, because I'm a pretty wound up guy. I'm pretty tightly wound at times, you know, and it'd be easy for me to get, oh man, frustrated, and I know it's not your fault, but I'm just exhausted and I'm tired and I want to get there, you know, but I'm finding that if we have these practices, these stories that we tell, we need to look for opportunities to practice. Then the very last part of the trip was that the next morning I was going to try to sleep in a little bit because I was exhausted and I didn't have to speak until late morning. And wouldn't you know it, at the crack of dawn, so I called the hotel front desk and asked to put a do not disturb on my phone and asked for a wake-up call, and like 2.5 hours before my call was supposed to go off, they called by accident. They had written it down wrong or put it in the computer wrong or something, and this is, I was so tired, but I said, mistake at front desk. So, you know, while we may not always perfectly act in the way we want, through these principles, through the practices that we're discussing, we can radically change our external response to the world. You know, internally we can change, and externally we need to change as well. And it's not about submerging the internal and going, you know what, I'm really upset, but I'm living a spiritual life, so I'm not going to say anything. It's not about that. It's about having like this, things aren't going my way. You know, like, how do I want to respond? If I can help you in any way, visit me at talkdavid.com. I work one-on-one with people, helping them to move into a more awakened experience, and just like I have to practice it and continue to practice it on a regular basis, and we might fall off the track a little bit, but if you need some help and guidance, contact me. Don't forget to send this to your friends. People that are stressed out right now could really benefit from this type of information. And then join us at YouTube. So every time we put a new video together, it goes right to your YouTube account. You can go visit it, okay? TalkDavid.com. Would love to help you. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye now.